Hello, this is Hot Indonesia, and welcome to those of you watching in Malaysia. I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. Here is this week's HI Hotlist. Virus crisis. Rising infections meant a return to tough rules in the capital. What must we do to beat this thing? Personal pain. COVID-19 took a loving couple just days apart. We talked with their son, Jakarta resident Kevin Aquino, who also caught the virus. And fit or fat. Stay-at-home rules have caused waistlines to grow. How can we beat the urge to overeat this time? Here are my co-hosts each and every week. Sandrina Malakiano, Deputy CEO of Polmark Indonesia, from her home in South Tangerang, and Sandiaga Uno, former Vice Governor of Jakarta, from his home in South Jakarta. Hot topic number one, virus crisis. Strict COVID-19 health rules returned to the capital Jakarta this week after cases of infection wouldn't flatten out. Businesses were told to keep workers at home again for the most part. No restaurants allowed to have dine-in, and religious venues allowed only limited capacity. Malls could remain open, but entertainment venues remain closed. Sandrina and Sandy, we're back to where we were in April, although a bit more lenient. Sandy, businesses are not happy. Your former partner, the governor, Anies Baswedan, made a tough decision.
Yeah, it is crunch time, and I think we need to brace for impact. Government must make very tough decisions and have to communicate it well to every stakeholders, including to the people and to the business sector. I am really advocating a two-pronged strategy whereby we are reducing the public health risk, which is now we are seeing rising numbers of new cases. So it's a two-pronged strategy. The government applied is even more stricter social restrictions. Secondly, triple T, testing, contact tracing, as well as treatment. We're seeing health facilities now towards maximum capacity.
We've been hammering away at the personal responsibility aspect of beating the virus. Sandrina has been particularly vocal on that, and that continues to be the problem, right, Sandrina?
Indeed, Dalton, because I'm sure the government, both Jakarta and as well as the central government, are trying to do their best to overcome the situation, control the spread of this COVID virus. And by also giving leniency and relaxation of the very strict PSBB in the beginning of COVID. But apparently, just as we have witnessed, quite a lot of people then tend to put down their guards, and then they are not implementing the health protocols the way they should. And now what I'm hearing from people around me is that what they say is that COVID used to be something quite a distance from us, but now it's in our front yard. It's getting closer and closer to our inner circle. Our neighbors are catching it. People we know have been infected, and we have even lost people that we've loved. I mean, it's scary, it is real, and it's getting closer and closer because the number of cases continue to increase.
Yeah, I think as it gets closer to you, you begin to take it a little more seriously.
Yes, it's kind of a scare.
Yeah.
Yes.
And hopefully this is the time. They must really realize we can't lock down forever. Yeah, economic impact, Sandy. There's no work. There's still no work for many people. So to me, these things have to happen. Not just to me, but to all of us. Government assistance needs to be handed out more quickly and perhaps in a larger sum. Rents and bank loans have to be either forgiven or delayed. Otherwise, people are going to go homeless. And utility fees, basic things, water, electricity, have to be reduced or eliminated. But that's not happening as far as I can see, Sandy.
We need to be vigilant, and for the government needs to step up, like forgiving the rents, part of the rents, or basically making incentives for small businesses, micro businesses, so that people could still have some cash in their pocket, making sure that the electricity bills and quota, data package needs to be assisted by government, and also business needs to take their parts. It is a massive, colossal collaborations that needs to be done at least in the next 2 to 3 months, because we are actually at the height and nearing hopefully the peak, and then hopefully we could after this flatten the curve, and then we could return to some kind of a business being reopened, because if we don't have this health issues being taken care of, we cannot take care of the economy.
Yeah, and I just read the latest report. Only 1/3 of the government emergency budget for COVID has been released. And we're 6 months into this thing. Okay, 2 more weeks of this return to the stay-at-home policy. 2 weeks, the latest return. Is this the make or break time, Sandrina?
Hard to say, Dalton. I do hope that this time it will bring us to a better situation for real. Because what people are saying now is that, well, okay, now that's about time. Whereby in the beginning they would say, oh, why? I mean, you're not thinking about the people. It's difficult for us to just even feed our children or keep our heads above the water. And now you implement this again. So just, I think we should see the clear picture and see further beyond all those comments given by people and the conflicts said to be happening between the central government and the government of Jakarta.
Now, that is the macro side of the picture again. Hot Indo will continue shortly with personal pain. He lost both his parents to the coronavirus within days. And then Jakarta resident Kevin Aquino also got sick. We talk with him next. You're watching Hot Indonesia with Sandrina, Sandy, and me. Here's hot topic number 2, personal pain. Consuelo and Alberto Aquino were happy parents and grandparents at a family reunion in July in the U.S. state of Tennessee. There was no masking or social distancing. Consuelo came down with COVID-19 and died on July 18th at the age of 87. Her husband would die 6 days later, also of the virus. He was 86. In all, 17 family members were infected, with all recovering except the 2 senior members. Their son Kevin has lived in Jakarta for 10 years now. When he got the call, he rushed back to the family home, but didn't make it in time before his mom passed. He joins us now from Potomac Falls, Virginia, in the U.S. Kevin, I've told you this in private. I say it again on the air. I'm so sorry for your double loss. I know it's been a difficult time. Your elderly parents, of course, had other medical conditions, but if they hadn't caught the coronavirus, they likely would still be alive. Is that fair?
Yes, thank you for your concerns and your well wishes there, Dalton. Yes, I think if my parents were a little safer, and they were advised of that whole thing, they would probably still be alive. And they were well in their 80s. They were highly immune deficient, so they were at high risk. But they were the type that really. When it came to family reunions and being with their family, they weren't as safe as they should have been. And against many of our family wishes for them to just stay home, they couldn't do it. It was very hard because we had a baptismal, they just celebrated their 4th great grandchild and their baptismal. So they had that huge family reunion that they couldn't avoid, and they were accepting the consequences for it, which is very tragic for us.
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't expect what happened, and then you caught it. How did that happen, and didn't you take precautions?
I was in the house where my father was at, and he obviously had it, and he was already suffering greatly from pneumonia and coughing, and I embraced him. I felt. Even though I was doing some masking, it still wasn't enough because I was really in an area where it's just full of COVID virus everywhere. And I embraced my father because of what had happened. And so I don't think I was very safe doing that. So I had caught the virus basically from either him or even my sisters. So there was a house full of people who had the virus and were recovering, and some of them already had recovered. But it was basically just a den full of virus everywhere, basically. So,
Yeah, okay.
And I wasn't safe, and I felt that I was invincible to it because I had been. I just felt that way.
Yeah, I wanna ask you about your attitude now as opposed to before. But first, a question from Sandrina.
Hi, Kevin. My deepest condolences and sincere sympathies. My heart goes out to you and your family for your double loss. You thought you were invincible, that you will not contract the virus, maybe because you believe you're younger and you have good immune system, but it happened and you got sick. Perhaps if you could share your story on what you felt and had to go through after you got infected by this COVID virus, the ordeal, the challenges, what you felt, maybe it could make people realize how dangerous this disease is.
After maybe a week or so, I started coughing. I thought it was just me lacking sleep and stress. I started losing my appetite. And I felt weakness. I did lose my sense of appetite, my sense of smell. I just felt lethargic. My other family members, they had fever. They had some were throwing up. Some were, they had other symptoms, but I didn't have that. I just felt like I had a cold, and I started coughing. I was just having some sort of a lung problem. I was just coughing. Next thing you know, I was just taking my time, sleeping way too much, and just missing dinner. And luckily, my sisters were very diligent in monitoring me because they saw that I was losing oxygen. They have this thing called they have a monitoring
for your saturation, the oxygen saturation meter.
Yeah, exactly. And they were taking my temperature as well as my heart rate, as well as my, it can measure your oxygen levels. And I came down to 80%. And it had been maybe 2 weeks of this symptoms. And they kept telling me I need to go to the hospital. And I was totally in denial. I said, there's nothing wrong with me, but I really had that virus. And so one of my sisters convinced me to just check into to the ER. I got tested. Sure enough, I had the virus, and because I was I was already at a point where I was gasping for air. The virus, when you catch it, it's like torture. You're gasping for air because you're low on oxygen, but you're coughing up your entire lungs because you're so busy with this pneumonia. And I can see why people can panic and possibly die easily because you feel like you're drowning and you really feel like you're going to die.
You took medication, you got treatment in the hospital, and now you're back home, and you're still recovering. Okay. Sandy, question for Kevin?
Yeah, really deep condolences for your loss, Kevin, and please take care of your health and stay healthy. I'm seeing my parents once a week now, and they're all in the 80s as well. And because of the basically people around me starting to get the COVID-19, what would be your advice to us who have parents in their 80s?
For parents in their 80s, most likely they're at high risk. They've been, I'm sure they have many ailments, and they're probably taking medication for those different ailments. This makes them more susceptible to the virus. So my advice to those people are to be absolutely cautious. In fact, it would be best for you to really isolate and isolate yourself from anyone who's always out in the public, and avoid any of those people. Avoid going out. Really, there's people that are doing that. So, and I was never a believer in that. My parents were the same. They were kind of stubborn. So took that risk, and it was tragic. But yes,
it would be prudent, Kevin, and it would be safe for us, especially in this very heightened rate of more new cases, to not see them at least until the situation improves.
Yes,
Is that correct?
I totally agree. In fact, thank gosh for technology, because now you can Zoom with them, and you're still close with them. It would be a better my advice is to FaceTime with them instead of be physically with them.
Okay, Kevin, to wrap this up, we've had discussions about this pandemic while you were still here before your family tragedy. If you can sum it up for me in one or two sentences. We talked about, you even kind of mentioned this could be a hoax thing, and you mentioned it earlier, I'm not that serious about it. What would you say to people then who are thinking similar thoughts and have these conspiracy theories about the reality and the impact of COVID-19?
Yes, this virus is not a hoax. When I was saying it was a hoax, I had some conspiracy theory as to where it came from. But what I want to say to people is that it is very serious. You need to take it seriously, and it doesn't matter what age you are and how well you are healthy. If you don't mask correctly and social distance, you're susceptible to it. That's just the thing. Especially if you're around people who are still recovering, and you don't even know if they have it or not. But there's carriers out there, definitely carriers out there, and it's dangerous. And the thing, if you have symptoms, do not wait to be treated. The best thing to do, they told me if I came in a week earlier with my symptoms, I probably would have been treated just over-the-counter medicine instead of being hospitalized for 8 days. So it's better for you to be safe. But if you do come down with any symptoms, treat right away and go to the emergency room, get tested, and be treated quickly. It might not end up where you're going to be hospitalized.
Yeah, and this is what all the experts have been saying all along, and you brought it home with your story. Kevin Aquino, Jakarta resident, talking to us from Virginia in the U.S. Thank you very much for your personal story, and again, our sincere condolences. More Hot Indo is ahead. Fit or fat? Will the new lockdown mean gaining even more weight? You're watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta. Hot topic number 3, fit or fat? Ever since stay-at-home rules were imposed earlier in the pandemic, food delivery spiked. And with that, so did the numbers on the scale. We have had numerous unscientific reports of weight gain by previously fit individuals. What's up with that? I don't get it. Gyms may be closed, but you can still work out at home. Reasons in your mind for the overeating, Sandy?
Well, food delivery is up. It's switching from restaurants to actually this online culinary experiences. But hey, online sales of fitness equipment is also increased, and dumbbell, weight plate, bicycles, all sold out. Yoga mat sales are skyrocketing. Opportunity for the local industry is to pivot, to switch, to sell the sports equipment. You have to adapt to basically this COVID-19. You need to make sure that you stay healthy, and this Pilates at home, yoga via Zoom, Zumba, lead to really download a lot of download search on materials.
Yeah, sure. We all know people who've gained weight, right? I'm sure. Well, but Sandrina, of course, is always Miss Slim, so she always.
And so
stays
is
in shape.
Sandy. Look at him.
Well, of course. Well, he's a marathon man, right? Sandrina, I guess people tend to eat more when the food is brought in from the outside than prepared at home. Is that right?
We move less because we spend most of our time at home. If you're in the office or a formal setting, then you tend to do things more. You work more, you have less time. But at home, you can do your work while relaxing. You can control your own timing. So you move less when you're at home. You have more time, then you tend to eat more. Avoid having a stack of unhealthy junk food. Have a lot of fruits in your fridge, because you tend to just go to the fridge and open, what can I take out of the fridge? So if you put like cakes and other fattening food there, then that's what you'll get.
Yeah, but your friends keep delivering all this good stuff to you, especially you, Sandrina. I see you eating cakes and pies every day. And besides,
Indeed.
Cheetos taste darn good. Okay.
But one thing, Like Sandy also, and you mentioned there are a lot of apps now, fitness apps, yoga, aerobic. Make use of that.
People are too busy doing TikToks. They don't have time to exercise. Okay, we got to move on. It is feedback time, and we want to hear from you wherever you are watching us. Indra posted this on our YouTube page. I struggle to find the full program on YouTube. Where to find you? Indra, just search for Hot Indonesia, and every one of our programs is there, or go to our website, theindonesiachannel.com, and go to watch past programs. You'll find us there. And Meta left this comment on the YouTube page of our partner TV1 after our segment on a politician commenting on a candidate's legs. Gender harassment is not acceptable. Here's how to contact us with your feedback. Email at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.com or comment through our Hot Indonesia or Indonesia Channel Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. Final words, Sandrina.
Wednesday, 16th of September is Galungan, a holiday very important for the Hindus in Bali. 10 days after that, the 26th, always on a Saturday, is Kuningan. This is the celebration of the victory of Dharma over Adharma, or good over evil. And similar to the Muslims when they celebrate Idul Fitri, when Galungan comes, people tend to gather, families meet and celebrate together. Now it's totally, it has to be different. Please keep your protocols and stay safe. Avoid huge gatherings, even though it's a very important day. We must ensure that people prioritize health over anything else. So to all my brothers and sisters in Bali and other parts of Indonesia, happy Galungan Day. Dumogi kena lan rahayu sarang sami.
And final words, Mr. Uno.
Well, the second phase of this large-scale social restriction is in place now, and our health systems are overwhelmed, and people are getting the reports that they fail to access the services. We have to prioritize, I think, for people with issues, comorbid issues, and we need to take preventive measures, including our family and neighborhood, to stay healthy and stay safe. A family and a community support system like your leaders in the village needs to be stepping up, and they play a very significant, important role at this challenging time. So let's stick together, and in God we trust. To unite we must.
And my final words, Indonesia is not a very good example in having a cohesive national pandemic policy, but at least the president here sets a good example by always wearing a mask in public, not like the United States, where the American president continues to hold large rallies while maskless, going against medical advice. But whether the problem is from the bottom up or the top down, the results are similar. Not good. And that is Hot Indonesia for this week. For Sandrina Malakiano, Sandiago Uno, I'm Dalton Tanonaka. Thank you very much for watching, and please take care and see you next week.